My name is Trisha Bondman, and I am here representing the Denver Do-Gooders. For our Impact Denver project, we partnered with A Little Help. Before we turn to A Little Help, I'd like to introduce you to the Denver Do-Gooders. I've already introduced myself, and the rest of our team includes Kat McCormick, Greg Sturkey, Curtis Underwood, Amy Polly, and Jen Metz. We're excited to talk to you today about our project, and I'll turn it over to my colleague, Kat.
So to give you a brief overview, A Little Help began in 2005 when a group of residents joined together to empower older adults in their neighborhood to age well in the comfort of their own homes. Utilizing the evidence-based National Village Movement model, ALH mobilizes volunteers to develop relationships and provide non-medical services to older adults in their communities, addressing vast service provision gaps for aging Coloradans. Through A Little Help, older adults receive help with a variety of services, including transportation, housework, and friendly visits. ALH also hosts intergenerational events where older adults can engage in community. They currently operate in 3 distinct Colorado regions, including Metro Denver, Northern Colorado, and the Roaring Fork Valley. And we also have a short video clip we'd like to share with you about the volunteer experience with A Little Help.
One of the greatest accomplishments you can have in your life is helping somebody else accomplish something.
A Little Help started really just neighbors helping neighbors.
A lot of the time when we have time to relax, we might just want to go to the gym, or we might want to kind of relax on the couch, watch some TV. It can be really, really rewarding and make you feel really good about yourself when you're spending this time volunteering for other people. It kind of gives you a sense of fulfillment that you didn't know that you needed.
Whoever you are and whatever your job is or whatever stage in life you're at, A Little Help is a great way to get into volunteering and giving back.
So our team chose ALH because the scope of the project seemed narrow and well-defined. Right off the bat, we also connected with their mission to strengthen community for older adults. And in terms of the scope of the project, ALH's director asked us to help improve its volunteer program by strengthening volunteer recruitment, retention, and specialization. Specifically, ALH initially asked us to review 2 focus group recordings that were conducted with current and past volunteers, and then make key recommendations to strengthen the volunteer program based on the focus group participants' feedback.
So our approach on the project really came into 2 clear defined goals, which was recruitment of new individuals and retention of individuals who have been volunteering with ALH for some time. And really what we wanted to do is make sure that we were focusing on, as Kat mentioned, the focus group component, which was the research that had taken place prior to us becoming involved, and then data optimization and marketing from what were the key identifiers on why people were choosing to volunteer with ALH, and how could we make sure that that process was as easy as possible to become a volunteer. So initially we kicked it off with bi-weekly meetings and quickly moved to weekly meetings once we realized that ALH had a handful more deliverables that they would like to have seen accomplished that were both still centered around recruitment and retention. Once we had some of our weekly meetings, we also incorporated ALH into getting some more confirmed direction, which really kind of resulted in a handful of deliverables, which we'll discuss on the next slide. So here's the list of the deliverables. It's really 7 main deliverables, and then how do we present all of the 7 deliverables to ALH so they have one digestible document to refer to and make sure that they can plan accordingly and make based on our recommendations to move forward. So a lot of our deliverables were based around surveys. So we actually kind of, survey says from Family Feud, but the main surveys that we wanted to focus in on are the survey of the failure to launch, which Greg and team worked to help actually conduct with ALH. And this failure to launch was individuals who had started the application process and gotten to a certain point generally around the background check, and then decided to no longer pursue the application process. We also made a lot of recommendations based on the focus groups that we had reviewed and really keyed in on some of the key differentiators, such as flexibility, that seemed to be a recurring theme on why people elected to work with ALH. We also worked heavily on a loyalty rewards program, which Amy will discuss more.
Like Kirk mentioned, we wanted to dive deep on one of our most successful initiatives for ALH, which was the Volunteer Loyalty Rewards Program. Through the program, volunteers earn rewards each time they reach an activity milestone with ALH. For example, we recommended providing all volunteers with a welcome kit, including an ALH branded mask, water bottle, and hand sanitizer. And we set out various activity milestones that you can see on the screen here. So for example, once a volunteer completes 50 activities, we recommended rewarding that volunteer with an ALH branded t-shirt or long sleeve shirt, or as an alternative, a movie night kit that they could use in their own homes. From our perspective, this program served ALH's original ask with respect to the project as well as its goals. Given the nonprofit and volunteer context, we did reframe the program as a volunteer appreciation program, but in particular, we saw it as an opportunity to increase ALH's brand visibility as well as volunteer recruitment, to encourage volunteers to continue coming back so that they can level up on the activity milestone chart that you see here. We also made recommendations to ALH on how they could leverage their existing volunteer infrastructure to actually launch and advertise the program. And so far, ALH loves the program and has actually started to implement it.
Thanks, Amy. Working with A Little Help through Impact Denver was a positive experience. Like most projects, we also faced some challenges and we learned two primary lessons. First, we learned that communication and early identification of stakeholders is absolutely critical. We chose the proposal to partner with ALH because we thought its deliverables seemed clear and accomplishable within our program's timeline. Once we started the work, it became evident that ALH already had an outside partner who had volunteered to analyze its focus groups, provide feedback and recommendations. That resulted in our team spending a lot of time in discovery trying to determine alternative deliverables, along with ways that we could add value to the existing focus group project. We also struggled to get time with ALH. When we did meet, we were able to advance our project. However, our time with the nonprofit was sporadic and it was also somewhat limited. If we were given a second opportunity to do the project again, we would ask our nonprofit contact to meet with us during our bi-monthly team meetings, as doing that would have lessened our dependence on email communications. It likely would have fostered more engagement as well. Second, we learned, probably like many others, that Zoom is not the optimal setting for collaboration, and especially when a group is just getting to know one another. While our group did meet in person, it wasn't until we were well into our program's timeline. If we had the opportunity to do the project again, we would have met in person sooner, as Zoom fatigue is a real thing. To conclude our presentation, I'll turn it back over to Tricia.
Great. Thank you so much to Greg and the rest of the team for presenting, and thank you all for listening to our presentation today. And now we are happy to take questions.